We are good on YouTube. We're going to broadcast now to the world. And hello, everyone. And Mardea comes in right at the finish line. Hey, everybody. This is the GVDS. Whoa, hang on. Even I have it outside here. This is GVDS Showcase number 5, as then we're going to be going over the Pandemic Homeless Plan. This is a project that was taken on by all the individuals who are on the call here. This was one of those. This is one of those challenges that had many different dimensions to it. A lot of people were interested in getting involved with this particular challenge. The team here is I think we're mostly Eastern based, from what I could tell from the time zones. So what we're going to be doing today is kind of going over how they went about the challenge, kind of the background in terms of what they researched and found out, their process for kind of walking through the different steps for a virtual design sprint to come to a conclusion, look at their prototype, and then we'll get some Q&A at the end if you're watching on Zoom or YouTube, and we'll kind of gather those throughout the session. And then we'll just kind of do a little bit of information exchange at the very end. So before I think that's it. I'll give it over to Iva. And Iva, you can share your screen, or you can basically start off any way you'd like.
Yeah, I think the best is to start on our board. And I need to introduce my assistant here that is just jumping over to the table. This is my daughter, Mara. Yeah.
Hello, Mara. It wouldn't be a showcase without you, for sure.
No. Oh, I have more public. Sorry. The second. Okay, now out.
Too bad Snap Camera doesn't work, or else they'd never probably, they would probably leave.
Yeah, I think the best is to start with our board, where we have prepared our team introduction.
Okay.
So I'll just start and share my screen. And we actually prepared our introductions in a way that we start with introducing each other. So in this order, I'm first. My name is Sladic, Keco, and I'm collaboration facilitator and coach. And I'm going to introduce Yasir Kazi, who is a Scrum Master, but also a master of many other things. And in our team, he was the master of humor and entertainment. He kept us all laughing and in high spirits. And he also helped us a lot to stay on focused on our time, and also focused on our goal. What are we doing at the moment? And which I'm really grateful for as a facilitator. It's always good to have someone on the side who kind of points you back to the rails. So thank you, Yasir, for that. And
You're
for
welcome.
everything else. And in addition, I also want to say that Yasir was awarded the X Factor Award.
X Factor.
X Factor, and we don't know what it is. So he will say what it is. What's your interpretation, Yasir, of the X Factor Award?
Well, it could mean a lot of things. So yeah, let's keep it as an X Factor. Let people interpret it the way they want it to. But yeah, I mean, thank you very much for that kind introduction, Eva. So now I will introduce Mehmet Karakus. So, I mean, I am honored to introduce the MVP of GVDS 5. Woo!
Drums
Okay.
go.
It's an honor. Here's a cup, Mehmet. So yeah, I mean, Mehmet, he's an experienced remote innovation consultant and facilitator. Comes in with a lot of experience in GVDS and in remote innovation and facilitation. So I think Mehmet was instrumental in bringing the experience that we needed during the sprint, and a lot of ideas when we were stuck, you know, bringing his 2 cents on how we could move forward. So learned a lot from him, and yeah, and I think so that was all culminated in the award. So congratulations, and thank you for being part of the team.
Thank you very much, Yasir, for the kind words. Let's move over to Mardea. Mardea is a remote facilitation workshopper, and in our team, she was kind of a Swiss knife, where she was basically all over the place in the user research, in the user tests. She was very instrumental also with her ideas and with her tips. And it was a really nice experience together with her to trying to solve this challenge. Mardea, to you.
Hi, my name is Mardea. So I am going to be introducing Khalil. So Khalil is an enterprise architecture person and a strategist. He was very, very strategic with his decisions and the way we are going about our workshop, our research, and the whole program. So Khalil is an enterprise architecture, like I've just mentioned, and he was really, really instrumental during this project that we took over. So I can turn the battle to Khalil.
Speaking to myself, so thank you, Mardea, for that. I'd like to introduce Benjamin. Benjamin is our resident design expert. All the feedback and a testament on and you'll see this a bit later, around the design and the look and feel of the prototype is down to Benjamin especially, and Eva. I think the most important thing is that Benjamin was also, actually two things. One is Benjamin was nominated as part of the top 10 of GVDS. And also his claim to fame is that he's a close buddy of Alberto Saviola. All right, so the guru of prototyping.
Yeah.
Great. So we also have Gia, who couldn't join us, as well as Benjamin. And Gia was instrumental in keeping also our spirits high and doing research. Gia helped us really push things forward with user research and SMEs, and was really, really engaged in all of our sessions. And I really think that every team should have someone like Gia, just being there, completely present and full of humor and energy. And an additional thing, Gia was keeping our eyes on the beach in the times of lockdown. She always had a beach background. So which brought all that fresh breeze, right, towards us. So I need someone who will introduce me. Or no, maybe. Or no one.
I can do that.
No,
Or unless somebody else would like to do that, that's perfectly fine.
no, maybe we both can do
Yasir
it.
is very good in that. Yasir, go for it.
No, so Eva was our facilitator, of course, and she took on a bunch of new kids who were trying GVDS and kept us calm, kept us focused, took us through the phases where we were a bit lost. And you know, so I think so she was extremely instrumental, and of course that translated into her being part of the top 4 or top 3, I think so. Yeah, but I think so I learned a lot in terms of, you know, how to manage people management, process management. So yeah, she was a key player in our team.
Thanks, Yasir. Just want to add, I was a new kid on the block too. So we were all in the same boat. Thank you. And that was basically the highlight for me, which I'm going to share later. We are moving to showcase our big idea. So please, who is in charge of that one?
So I should be in charge of this with Gia, but Gia is not here at the moment, so I could do justice with it. So our big idea on this Team Pancake is the pandemic homeless plan. So that's the whole of the beginning of the journey that we took on, or the tasks that we took on. So pandemic homeless plan. So this big idea was actually submitted by someone, and we expanded that idea to research on what someone submitted to say, if we can ensure that the homeless people can be given shelter and care, during pandemic, why can't we do the same when the pandemic is over? So that got our interest, triggered our interest that there's something, or there should be a sort of a solution that could solve this pandemic problem of homelessness, because we know the pandemic is already here, and homelessness has been a pandemic that have been in our lives for a very, very long time. So we took on the challenge, and from there on, we moved to the next stage. So the next stage is the
Might be.
How might we?
Yeah, the sprint journey. So I'm going to hand this over to Yasir, if I'm correct. Okay.
Yes. So basically, we had the first week where we sort of explored more of the did the research and did the exploration, gave it a first try, and the second week it was more like an iteration week for us. And there, the top three how might we for us was, first of all, how might we develop a product idea where corporates can use to sponsor charities. So this was directly based on feedback from one of our SMEs, Jeff Rotmeyer, who gave us feedback that one of the areas that they were looking at was how to get the corporates involved in sponsoring the homeless activities that the different charities were doing. So that was the topmost how might we. Then we had we went a little deeper into it and looked at how might we create a team building workshop for corporates that would create value for Impact HK, which is the charity that Jeff Rotmeyer was running in Hong Kong. So this was in terms of how we could get the interest of the corporates using some team building workshops for their employees and get them involved in the homeless issue. And the last one was about how might we involve individuals from corporate environments in actions for that would, that the Impact HK, the charity, could use depending on their skills and commitment. So here the idea was how we can target the employees in those corporates and make them volunteer their skills and their expertise to the charities that were actually, working directly with the homeless people. So as you can see, the whole theme was related to how we could get corporate involved in solving the homeless issue. So yeah, so that was related to the how might we's. I guess we can move on to the can we's, and I can hand it over to Mehmet.
Thank you very much, Iva. Would you like to zoom into the long-term goal first, so that we have a context towards the can we questions? Thank you very much. So our long-term goal we would like to achieve in 2 years' time is that employees will be entitled to 2 weeks a year of time off to participate in homeless programs. We know that this is quite ambitious. On the other side, it's a long-term goal, and we think that it could be possible to convince a couple of companies to go with that, acknowledging the impact it would have. Now we come to the first sprint question. The first sprint question is: can we actually build a sustainable product that incorporates products that corporates will use over a longer period of time and prove the impact of it? This is, of course, very important because if first the corporates do not see the value in it, and second, it doesn't have any impact, it will diminish itself, and therefore it is quite an important question. If we come to the second question. The second question is, can we develop a team building workshop for homeless awareness and a corporate involvement that is more innovative than what's out there already? First of all, we think that workshops will build a very good basis to have a good team alignment, to increase the awareness and the importance of the topic itself. And secondly, also to increase the momentum of the team or the employees that would actually be part of that, that initiative. And secondly, there are already workshops out there. However, we thought about new innovative ways to use, for example, design sprints or design thinking as a means towards an end and help the homeless initiative there. If we now come to the third question. The third question is, can we get corporates to agree to more paid time off for employees to participate in homeless awareness programs? Because of course that is the very basis. We are also aware that there are companies that do not do that at all. So that will definitely be a major challenge and a question which we would need to answer for the long-term goal. Having said that, now I will hand over for the prototype to Iva.
You're on mute, Iva.
Thank you. Thank you, Mehmet. So from here, having sprint questions, our long-term goal, we went into our lightning lightning demos and our ideas. And when we sketched our ideas, we were choosing amongst quite few very good ones, but the winner was the idea called Employee Kindness Portal, which was actually targeting the third sprint question is how to get corporates to agree to more paid time off to employees. But it was also working at the same time on other sprint questions, and it was tackling them because it was also working on awareness about homelessness and actually spreading the word about it. The Employee Kindness Portal was some kind of integrated application in the organizational system, whatever that is, that actually shows the upcoming activities through which people are showing kindness, and then they're collecting some kind of scores. So there is a gamification component behind, and also some kind of community building behind in terms of activities, contributing activities, and not just contributing money, which we all know it's very easy, but also contributing skills and time. So we were actually putting this together in a format of the app, and our prototype was designed by Benjamin in Figma, and it was done really quickly. So here I want to actually mention that we are focusing on our iteration sprint, which was basically running more of a classic sprint process where we did a prototype, because in the first week we did mostly prototypes and it was an experimental program. So even in the first week, Benjamin did really, really fast prototype using Figma and this user experience template. And in the second week, we actually expanded that. So now I'm just going to open the prototype and walk you through it, what really is. Okay, so I hope, can you see my screen? Is it opening?
Yeah, it is.
It's getting there.
It takes some time. All right. Yeah. There we go. So I'm going to go to the starting screen. So as Yasir mentioned before, we were working closely with the organization called Impact Hong Kong, and that was our main subject matter expert, the founder of that organization. So that's why we used it here. He was also one of our main users who provided a lot of feedback on this portal that Khalil is going to share with you shortly. So the kindness portal is basically a portal that is showing partnership between particular organization that is dealing with homelessness in particular city with certain company, and they're actually resolving homelessness in the city together through a longer term relationship, which would be 1 year or 2 year relationship. So when they actually involve employees into this program, this is what employees are getting. They're getting this application and they can explore here. So when they're getting enrolled into program, they go to Start Now, where they actually see all the activities that are available in the company. Some of the activities here are kindness walk, kind content creation, for example, or kind mentor, where you can actually go and, for example, offer your skills in any field that your skills are expertise, and you can actually offer it as some kind of kindness help. So when you actually want to sign up for the activity, you can sign up for this portal. You actually just enter your name and you enter what skills do you want to share, and you register. So once you register, the portal actually shows the activities that suit you based on your skills, and you can discover those activities. So for example, we want to go to kindness walk. When we enter the kindness walk, we can see when is the kindness walk happening, what it is, and actually who in the company already participated in this activity, what is the rating of the activity in the company, and also some reports about former walks, testimonials, and pictures. Immediately also there is always a donation component in, because all the charities always want some kind of financial security, right? So the employees are actually collecting kindness scores, and there is some kind of leadership board in terms of kindness, and people have the scores here. There is also a showing of donations, so actually how much all the employees are donating, and you can go and donate now. There are additional information here in the app where you can read about inspirational content that actually explains more about the organization itself, the homeless organizations, what are they doing, what are their recent activities, and some kind of testimonials from colleagues in the same company. Also, there is a short explanation about how this works. So how actually Kindness Portal works, what is in it for the company, what is in it for the organization, and what is in it for the employee, and on the end, the city, which is the final goal. So that would be our prototype, which we showed to our users, and they gave us amazing feedback, which I'm gonna pass on to Khalil to share with you.
So thank you very much, Eva. Before talking about whether this prototype is validated the sprint question or not, let's start with some of the feedback we received, right? So I want to start with the positive statements first. I think some of the positive statement is a testament to our resident design expert, Benjamin. So most of it was about how it looked and felt in terms of the illustrations, in terms of the eye-catching graphics and colors used. So again, this is a lot of the work that was done by Benjamin, and that's testament to that. In terms of moving clockwise, I would go with them with the insight. Some of the feedback, and especially from our key SME, which was Jeff from Hong Kong, Impact Hong Kong, the customization around the app was something that he recommended a lot, right? So you need to be able to take this prototype or this app into an organization and customize it per company. That was some of the feedback we received. Name change, also the name of the app was not very kindly looked upon. So we also thought about, why don't we think about something else in terms of a name change? And in terms of categories, or the categories we had as part of the prototype suggested only certain type of categories. So if you go to some companies, they want to look at and do things across many different types of charities, not only homelessness. Okay. Informational statements, again, most of the informational system was around the UX, or the UI, right? So additional features, a clear user experience, right? There were a couple of occasions where some users mentioned when they came to a screen, they did not know what is expected for them from a particular screen, right? So that came out very, very clearly. And last but not least, some of the negative statement is around the target audience. I think that's a some good feedback around that. The target audience for this app was not clear, and I'll talk about that in a moment. What we were thinking about what we realized when going through the user testing, and why that comment also came out, right? And again, similar comments around clear screens were not clear into what was expected from the user using the application or the prototype. Okay. So in terms of validation or invalidation, did the prototype answer the sprint questions? Yes, it did. After much iteration and narrowing down of the initial challenge. Will the prototype properly address the long-term goal? We're not sure about it. And this goes back to the point about target audience. So what we realized as part of the user testing, the SME feedback, and going through this exercise is that this prototype is a program or is a sub-program within a larger charitable HR program, right? That's part of a large program, and it's not specifically is not there to replace all the programs that you have currently in your organization, right? So that's the key learning that came out of this, I think, out of this user testing and feedback. Do you think we addressed the challenge we looked on as a team? We didn't address the challenge completely. I mean, we've had to narrow it down because the challenge was just such a wide target to achieve in such a short amount of time. And with that, I would like to pass on to Mardea. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Khalil. So that was all about our sprint process itself. Now we need to talk about our experience and how was it for us to be part of this sprint. So the next thing we want to share is highlights, and we also want to ask everybody who are looking here to pass questions if there is an audience into our chat, and we can copy paste them onto this board and answer once we are done with our highlights. So who would like to share first the highlight of the sprint? Your personal highlight of the sprint.
I can share.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, my personal highlights for the sprint is starting from the first week when we began the whole big idea of the homeless pandemic plan. So we had the prototype test that we carried out. And the prototype test, one of it was the setting up an Instagram page as a prototype. We wanted to see if there would be a trigger from the user to send a DM message to us to inquire about the homeless plan that we have. So we set up an Instagram page, and actually people were coming because doing the prototype test, it was like creating a fake door. So that actually tells us that there are real people and real consumer that actually homelessness has affected. So it was actually targeted on potential homeless people or homeless person. So I had several phone calls directly from people that actually want to get sorted from their homelessness. People were sending me DM, people were calling me directly and crying that they actually need their lives or their situation to be changed. So that goes to show that this is really a pandemic and it's happening. It's not like it wasn't a made-up thing. So people are affected, you know, people's job, people's life, families are affected, children are affected, adults are affected. So that would be my highlights, because it drives home that although you have a home now, if you're not careful, maybe you bought a house, you're paying your mortgage, you could be potentially homeless if you don't have a job to sustain you. So that was a big highlight for me.
Thank you, Mardea. Yeah, that was amazing moment.
Yeah.
That showed like this is real. We are doing a real thing.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. Any volunteers who wants to go next?
I can go.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so I had a sort of couple of highlights. One was the fact when we realized that, you know, trusting the process will always get you through the difficult phases or the blocks that you encounter during the sprint. So, you know, I mean, one comes into the design sprints and maybe thinking of innovations and trying out different things, but you know, and then at times, you know, especially when you're new to it, at times things don't make sense, that, you know, the way they are planned, the way the process is planned. But I mean, if you stick to it, eventually you will get through that. So, you know, as a team. So that was for me a highlight and a big takeaway from this. And the other one was more of a sort of a social thing that I acknowledged, is that, you know, intrinsically, even though I think so we, you know, I think Eva, you mentioned in a previous meeting that we are all from different locations, and we are actually, none of us are in the location in the hometown where we belong to. So we are basically all over the world. But intrinsically, you know, it became very clear that, you know, at the roots, we are very, very similar, you know, irrespective of the diversified backgrounds. At the end of the day, we are very similar people, irrespective of where we come from. And that the highlight was also, you know, that the team even because of these diversity, we're still able to gel together and come, you know, start working together as a team so quickly. So these were a couple of highlights for me.
Thank you, Yasir. So I'm just here, so I'll go next.
Yeah.
It's easy to scroll. So my highlight was similar to yours, what you mentioned actually. As the second one is a team of global citizens glued in work and willingness to experiment and learn. I feel like, as we said in the beginning, we were all new kids in this, except Mehmet, who was a mentor. And it was really fun to go along this journey of experimentation and looking into what is actually design sprint, but not just looking into design sprint as it is, but what could it be? So thanks, Robert, for pushing us there. It was scary. We jumped off the cliff without a parachute, but we came out. we survived, and it was really good. So we had a hard time in working the sprint, but we had a lot of fun. And that was my highlights of every session. There was just a lot of laughing, and we were laughing at our own mistakes, and that was great. So I feel like I made a lot of friends and hopefully future collaborators when the opportunities come.
Great.
I can be next up. That was, thank you very much. I thought that was actually a true statement of showing vulnerability, but also sharing the vulnerability inside the group and helping each other to get through a challenge, or also through a process which we do not know. Having said that, the first step, I would say, a key learning is, you know, trusting the process, because you want to exercise it, and that was, I think, a common joint key learning for all of us. But also, if the process somehow shouldn't be working, be flexible and improvise. That we are able to see to the left and to the right to get to new approaches, and then just, you know, crack on with it and help and trying them out, which actually helped us then with the third point, and just directly jumping into the prototype with Benjamin in week 1, and which was a spontaneous decision. But at the end, it turned out that, you know, Alberto Savoio contacted us. A lot of people asked us about the prototype, what we did, how we did it. So I think sometimes or not sometimes, quite often, actually, it's very nice to leave the safe zone and really try out new things, and then amazing things happen.
Thanks, Mehmet. So, Khalil, where are you?
Yeah, it looks like I copied my text box and somebody called Tom Jepson. So.
Tom Jepson.
Your new name is Tom Jepson.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay,
so
let me help you with that. Or you want to be Tom today?
Now those two have to meet. There's no, now that that's happened, Khalil has to meet Tom formally in some sort of fashion.
Okay.
If you're Tom, I can be Jerry.
So I signed up for this GVDS not knowing what to expect. On the one hand, I expected some experience around design, some typical training that I would experience anywhere else. Right? On the other hand, it wasn't clear what the training is, what form it's going to take, right? Because it was all remote and all of that kind of stuff. But I came out of this realizing that this is a very, very, very powerful mechanism to solve many of the world's challenges. And I take this, and I'm very happy with this realization, very happy that I took part in this. And this is testament to Robert and his work that he's done, bringing together this community and this learning, let's call it that. I don't want to call it a training because I think it's much more than that, right? And I'm definitely looking forward to joining the next one. So for me, I think my two takeaways is one is similar to the other people that have talked about, that have mentioned before me, which is it's a very powerful experience, and the coming together of these different backgrounds, cultures, people from different parts of the world, and taking on very diverse problems and coming out with something to answer that problem. The second one is, I think it's more on a personal level, and I think I've met a great group of people. And hopefully, like Eva mentioned, hopefully we can continue to be friends and continue to be collaborators in the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Khalil. That's very kind. Benjamin wrote here, best remote community, many meaningful connections with great people all around the world. It's kind of a summary of everything that we said. It sounds like haiku. And we don't have Gia, fortunately, but so those are our highlights. Here are some pictures that are actually showing those moments. So the worry. Oh, we also had Killian in the first week, who is not, who wasn't with us in the second week because of his work commitments. But Killian Pullmans was also from Melbourne, but not native to Melbourne, I think. So definitely all of the team members were based in the locations, but they were not born and raised there. So Killian, here you can see, like, in the exercise of mapping, he was really worried, and a lot of us were just going through this crazy confusion. What is this? How is this difficult? Why is this so difficult, right? And then we didn't know how to come out of it, but we pulled it through, and then we were very happy afterwards. So that was a really strong moment. The second one was, this is a good laugh. So I put like 20 seconds of good laugh on YouTube. I don't know if I can play this so you can hear it, because probably you will not hear.
You need to share your sound also.
Yeah. So I need to share my sound. I don't know. Let me try.
If you unshare and then share again, and then it will give you change the sound again.
Yeah. Okay. I just lost my Zoom. Stop share.
Yeah. And
then share screen.
And there will be a checkbox that says shares.
Computer sound.
Yeah.
So let's see this one. It's just a 20-second laugh.
You said you don't want to understand what he's saying.
We didn't get the first part. I changed my mind. You need to restart it.
I need to
And this
reset.
French song isn't making things easier either.
You said you don't want to understand what he's saying.
Yeah, I changed my mind.
So Yasir was creating a lot of these moments in 2 weeks' time.
So what was the French song that you were laughing to? I mean, what
No.
was it?
Well, the background is that when we said, do you want to play any songs? We said, yes, just play something that we don't understand so that, it's there in the background, but we don't really know what it means, so it doesn't disturb us. And then we were doing at that time, segregating the how might we's and finding out the duplicates, and that thing coming in the background, the French song at the background was like not helping at all. So that's the moment that that got captured. So that's why Mardea is saying, but you said you don't want to understand what the guy said, but yeah, I said, yeah, I changed my mind.
Okay, now I'm fully caught up. I understand.
Yeah.
Then we had a really big moment when Alberto Savoia actually commented on LinkedIn post to Benjamin, I think, right? Or
Yeah.
Mehmet, and then Mehmet, and then Benjamin actually. Yeah. So the team was really excited about that. The master is coming to our little design sprint and actually commenting. So that was very good.
Yes, that was good.
And then the big moment was also, yeah, sorry, Mardea, you want to say something?
Oh, no, I was just saying, by the way, I bought his book.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully if he's watching, we are actually on his case now in this team.
I bought it too. Didn't read it yet.
Me too, not yet, still new.
On Kindle.
Yeah. I already finished it. It's super exciting. Really nice.
Okay.
Awesome.
So you should know that just as a side note, he's offered to do a masterclass with the GVDS, but he wants to make sure that he knows how many people have actually read the book or have been practicing it. So just a little bit of a hint about GVDS 5 that may come into view, but I'm not going to say anything right now beyond that.
Okay.
Okay. We'll keep following up with you.
Mm-hmm. Just keep,
fantastic.
My LinkedIn is going, hey, Robert, hey, you said something about this. Hey.
Yeah.
Kind of like how my own kid does when he wants my attention when I'm doing one of these,
Fantastic. Really cool. And another highlight here is we got some awards. Thanks to Robert. He has this system of recognizing people. So on our team, we have our most valuable practitioner, MVP Mehmet, which we mentioned before. We have Benjamin in top 10. And we have Gia and Yasir as the GVDS X Factor Spotlight.
And we have Eva as I thought maybe you'll be humble and not try to mention your name. So I'm just jumping in a little bit. So we have Jiva as part of the best of the best. Not Gia, sorry, Eva.
Beast of the beast.
Beast of the best.
Best of the beast.
Best of the beast, yeah.
So do we have any questions from the audience?
Let me just double check. Boop, 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 boop. No, I can ask a question though, since I've been watching this entire time.
Sure.
So I remember that around the one of the themes I've been hearing from teams is like kind of like this. There's a bit of confusion on where to start and where to go, and the struggle with kind of going in the right direction. I know this team had a little bit of that just because part of the issue was, like you had said, the map was fairly new, trying to work through like the beginning to end and really understanding the problem space. If you would have done things differently for the first couple of days of the sprint, what would you have done differently?
I could give a little bit of answer to that. Maybe because the big idea is talking about homelessness, and the first thing that comes into your head is, oh, whoa, this is big, this is huge. So if we had known before the day we started to research more and deep into it, to get more resources and just stand by and wait for the battle, I'm not saying we didn't do a great job, but just maybe some other way that we would have loved to do it, from my own opinion.
Okay.
I think my thought is that in hindsight, had we started following the known process in the initial stage, maybe that would have helped us progress in a better speed and better way. I think so. The fact that we tried to do prototyping in the first, even though the whole team was sort of new to this, sort of got us a slightly off track. I mean, we are better off with the experience that we had, but then as you said, I mean, in hindsight, if given an opportunity again to start over, or maybe try to follow the known process, and then once you have that in place, see if you want to innovate and experiment.
Yeah, that was my fault for introducing it that early. I think it was just I
Mhm.
just thought that it could be interesting to try, but
Yeah.
that was a misstep on my part. But luckily, a lot of teams were able, and this one also were able to kind of like write itself after kind of doing like, okay, prototype, and they're like, well,
Mhm.
what do we do? And, yeah, we changed it a bit. So going forward with the pandemic homeless plan, were there any discussions about putting some dimensions of this forward, talking to other people about this? Is there any interest in the team or members of the team in kind of seeing where this goes, or was this just the experience of doing it?
So since I am in a close contact with Jeff, and I'm here in Hong Kong where he runs this charity, and I'm participating in some of the programs, I'll take it back to him as adjusted prototype for his purposes, because he is going to companies and actually asking for potential partnerships, and he can use it in a conversation to see if there is an opportunity to work on that. So it can actually be applied in real life, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Okay. And moving forward, if someone watches this video on YouTube, where it's going to be probably be stationed, is there are you the particular point of contact for the work that the team did so that you can be sort of an historical narrative? Or are there multiple members of the team and someone can reach out to on LinkedIn to find out more about, to follow up with what's been done here?
Yes, I'm a contact. I'm volunteering to do that and inviting anybody else who wants to do that. So feel
I'll
free,
support
guys.
you. Yeah, I really want to. If this needs to go forward, Ivan, you need help with Jeff, no issues. Please call me.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think one of the, sorry, if I can just one of the things that when we were discussing it with Jeff, the SME, was that, maybe the corporate part was not his top thing. That was one of the top things, but the main thing he was the educating the kids, the school kids, and just because of the logistically, it was not possible for us to go in that direction, because the schools were, because of the pandemic, the schools were off, and there was not an opportunity to test any prototype or anything. I think, I mean, because that I keep wondering about it, that maybe going forward, if that would be something that could be entertained and explored, because that was his main thing, that the education and awareness of starting from school kids about homelessness, because so that they I remember in the first week, one of the main how might we had was how to remove the stigma related to homelessness, and I think so that starts from the root level.
Got it. Okay. So we're almost at time. Does anyone else have any other comments beyond what's been said? Anything you want to sign off with before we do like one last group shot? And then I think that'll be it for the showcase.
Yeah, I think overall a great experience, and I'm anxiously waiting for GVDS, for the next GVDS. I hear from you, it could be the last one in the same format, and after that it might change. So
yeah,
waiting for it.
This next one will be hopefully the less sleep deprived version, but then yeah, it's gonna be recast slightly into next year. Based on some of the feedback I've gotten and the way that I've run now, it will be like 5 of these. I think there's going to be some slight foundational changes to things so that it's a bit easier to kind of get people that are new to this to ramp up in a fashion that makes sense, and probably tie it into a lot of some of the other programs I'm coming online in this coming month, just to see how things kind of come together in a unique package. So yeah, one thing I was wondering about in the Slack channel was asking teams overall if they want to be considered to rejoin it, depending on schedules and how busy you are, to rejoin again in October. So if this team wanted to rejoin and reunite under a different kind of challenge, that would be something I'd probably reach out to you all about and say, like, what does it look like for October and what makes sense? Because in October, we're only doing 2 weeks of sprints, meaning that the 2nd and 4th week of the month-long affair are going to be the actual sprint weeks. So it gives people plenty of time to do preparation, to do iteration sprints, and we have a little bit more breathing room than we did this time around. So that'll probably be coming up in October.
Great.
Great.
Okay.
Looking forward to it. I need to get my business ball rolling so I can free the October then.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully this experience is and the fact that a lot of people on this team had some exposure around their abilities and what they contributed to the team. Hopefully that manifests in the things that turn into results from a business standpoint, from people that are running small businesses to their reputation. That kind of moves the needle a bit forward, and that's kind of the intent of doing this. Is that there is that outcome that comes.
It does. I can tell you exactly it does, because it moved the needle this week for me. In a meeting, it moved forward. Just the fact that I shared my experience in GVDS that I did 3 weeks ago, and I said, well, I had just had this experience remotely running design sprint is possible. I just did it for 2 weeks and participated in many more. And they're like, okay, let's do it. So it's definitely moving the needle as a reference point, as something, and they go and check out my LinkedIn profile and see it there. So it definitely helps. It creates credibility. It does.
Yeah.
Very good. So as is custom with every team, this is your opportunity to do one last shot, but you'll have to pick the theme. I won't necessarily encourage it. I don't have a dog to sit on my lap, so I don't know exactly what I do to
Oh, robots. Just leave Daisy alone. Daisy is popular.
No,
Say
it's
hello.
awesome. I'm totally fine with her. No, don't panic her. She was good. She was like, hey, I'm comfortable. Let her be.
I can get my dog, but he wouldn't be happy me holding him up.
You can get Mara. You could get Mara and have her on your lap. That could be like. Yeah.
Well, I have no pets whatsoever. So.
Do you have a stuffed animal?
You can hold on to your cottons behind you. Is that a cotton?
Yeah, it is a cotton. I think we should just end with a laugh, which was the theme that we had in our team.
Okay, so just like a freeze frame laugh.
Yeah.
I'm laughing now. My laugh is gonna expire soon.
All right, I did a quick snap. I'll do it. I'll do a fake one.
Yeah.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Great.
Okay, thank you everyone for taking part in the GVDS this time around. It sounds like it was a really good experience for y'all. Congratulations to Mehmet and to Iva, and I pretty much can go down the list. Yasir, Khalil, like Mardea, there was all this effort that came into this, a lot of recognition that came through as well. Blah. That's part of the problem.
Good morning.
That's probably was.
Shout out to everyone that needs us, or any homeless organization that want to plug this idea into their system. You can give us a buzz. You can contact Eva, our fabulous facilitator, and you can contact Mehmet, Khalil, me, Yaris, anyone in this group would be fabulous to contact. Thank you.
Yep.
Couldn't have said it better myself, obviously. Thank you for that. All right, everybody. Take care. Thanks a lot for coming to the showcase.
Bye.
And we'll see you
Bye.
online.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.